What's up, Canes fans? Got my cafecito here ready to go. Did it actually come out of this? No, I did not prepare it, but just wanted to show off what I was working on recently. Yes, cafecito, ready to go. Let's see what we got. Philly Kane. What's going on? Birdstone, what's up? Yes, it was a great time to be a Hurricane. We will be having a guest coming on soon. Jazz Santana from the Sixth String Kane Show, who I was on his show last night. Check it out if you haven't already. If you weren't able to catch it live, go rewatch Squad that thing. It's on their channel. It's up there now. I'm here live, and you can catch Jazz and I here. Wow, I am stumbling on my words today. You can catch Jazz here in a few minutes. We're going to talk some position battles. We're going to talk some kind of wrap up the hires thing, because you can only beat a dead horse for so long. And Mario has been hitting home run after home run. So we will go over the, kind of wrap up the coaching thing, because we went over it a lot yesterday. I don't want to go over it too much. Spring is upon us. I kind of want to go over that. A few position battles I want to go over with Jazz and get his opinion. Until he comes on, I wanted to take advantage and plug my sponsor really quick. Let's see. Let's share that screen. Here we go. For all you Cuban coffee fans out there, give it a second. Man, that takes a while. Yes, so La Espumita, go check out shopespumita.com. It changed, so don't go to the same URL I've been plugging before. I just realized it literally now before the show. That's actually the new URL. So go check it out. Go, check out your coffee, coffee treats, coffee merch if you like Cuban coffee. If you're in the Miami area, you'll probably enjoy this. If you're not from the Miami area, don't know what the hell I'm talking about. What is Cuban coffee? What's the craze about? Go maybe order some of this stuff and, go check it out if you find yourself in Miami. I highly recommend it. You got your merch. Maybe we'll come up with some Canes-inspired merch. I got to talk to my buddy. Just a little plug for the sponsor. Go check them out if you have not done so already. Great gift idea. Alex, what's good, man? It's that time before spring where you're like, man, there's a long off season ahead of us. But you know what? It tends to fly by, because even in the off season, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. You have spring coming up now in March, from March to April, then the spring game. And then from April to July, it's pretty much all recruiting talk and all that stuff, and portal talk. That's probably the most dead period. And then from late July on, now you start talking fall camp. Now the season's right around the corner. When the season's like 2.5 months away, it's like right there. It really flies. So looking forward to that. And you know what? It's a few months away, but we got enough to talk about where I think it's going to fly by quick. Let's see what else we got. We covered the sponsor. Oh, speaking of merch, a lot of people have been asking me, and it's something I've been thinking about. It is my goal to release some type of merch at some point, sometime this year. That was kind of a New Year's resolution of mine. And, aside from hitting the 10,000 subs, I would love to release some merch at some point. You guys, let me know what would you like to see. I have a couple of ideas already that are not, they're kind of in the works already. Let me know what you guys would love to see. Little tacitas de café, a little, some shirts, caps, whatever you guys want. Perfect timing. We have our guest coming on now, fighting that Miami traffic.
Tell me about it, man.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, my dude? How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Alex, yes, thank you. I will definitely a man to reach out to when it comes to merch and that sort of thing. But anyway, Jazz, thanks for coming on. I know a lot of this chat saw us together in your show yesterday. I was plugging that earlier, the Sixth String Kane Show. If you haven't seen it, go rewatch Squad that thing. When you have a chance. And I wanted to go over, kind of wrap up the whole coaching stuff because I didn't want to beat a dead horse too much. And then maybe go over a little because spring is right around the corner, if you can believe it. It's like right there. So, maybe go through a few position battles. But I was like, man, it's February and there's a long off season ahead of us. To you, does the off season fly by? Or is it like, man, these next 5 months are going to suck?
I think it depends on the state of the program, man. Like sometimes, like right now, I think I think we're all so excited, and it's going to take forever to get here. At least that's how I feel. I feel like August and September is going to take forever to get here because so many things have gone on in the offseason. We're all excited to see what these players are going to do. We're all excited to see what the coaching staff is going to do with the players. So now we're like, all right, now it's wait until game one, to the first game, and I feel like it's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
And like if it was like a complete fiasco, then we'd probably be more like, oh, we can't wait till the season starts already to get this out of the way. But right now, man, I'm just excited, so it's crazy.
Yeah, for me, this is usually how it happens. From now, like spring practice till like late July, when fall practice is like right around the corner. That period flies by because it's like the spring and summer. But like the last month before the season, it drags. It feels like forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Philly Kane has a good question just to touch on the coaching stuff for a few minutes. What are we hearing on cornerbacks and linebackers, coach? I know cornerbacks, it seems like DVD is sticking around. Linebacker, we were talking about that yesterday. Is Kevin Steele going to hire a linebackers coach to help him out? Most likely, I think so. But that's just my thoughts on it. I don't know. As far as names, I'm not sure who. Like, what are you hearing on those two positions?
Yeah, I don't know. They, in typical Mario fashion, they've kept it kind of close to the vest. They haven't said too many things about who. We can all kind of speculate and throw names out there. T. Will and Campanile or Campanile, however you mention, however you say his last name, the guy from the Dolphins. So I mean, there's a lot of ifs and whats and whens and all that stuff. But Steele today mentioned I was on the press conference earlier today, and he did mention that at the end of the day, they're just gonna make the best hires possible that they can. He really didn't mention if they were going to go after a linebackers coach or not, if they were going to do some sort of, some other position. He did say though that, he wants to get the best possible staff together here, and he'll work around it, right? Like he'll work with whoever it is that's here. If he has to end up because he has experience coaching safeties and coaching linebackers. So I mean, like I think that at the end of the day, what they're going to do is just make the best hires possible for the staff. Could it be a linebacker coach? Possibly. I think that at this point, Steele's a little bit older, so maybe get him a little help there. He can kind of, partner up with whoever is going to be the linebacker coach. Maybe it's a DC in waiting type of guy. So I think that that's an option. Definitely. I mean, we're also hearing other names like, someone threw out there, a particular defensive line coach that's an absolute stud. So I think that they're, all the names that we're hearing that Mario really hasn't probably put out there, but God knows it's exciting. So I just think that everybody should just sit back, relax, like we like we kind of did with all of this that was going on, and wait until those get announced. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, man. So now that the staff is almost completely full, and the initial word by Mario was that it was going to be done by the end of this week. I think that was what he originally said. I don't know if it's going to be done by tomorrow, but we'll see. If you had to pick one guy on the staff, like this guy is the most important guy besides Mario. I mean, it's tough to pick because there's so many great coaches on the staff right now. Who would you say that is right
now? Most important guy, man. Look, here's the thing, right? Like, and everybody keeps saying this, and that at the end of the day, the most important guy is Mario, because all these position coaches and these coordinators, chances are, if we want to run with the big boys, if we want to play with the big boys, they may not be here too long, right? If we're successful, if Kevin Steele's successful, Josh Gaddis is successful, even guys like Jamil Adai and so on, they may take on bigger roles at another school, right? At a Power 5, even at a G5, maybe one becomes a head coach, another offensive coordinator. There's so many moving parts when it comes to anybody outside of Mario. So again, for me it's Mario, but if I had to choose one that's not Cristobal, that's not Mario Cristobal, I'm going to say DeMarcus Van Dyke. I'm going to say DVD. I think that we always talk about it, right? We can't let DVD go. We can't let DVD go. DVD can't go anywhere, right? He's still here. We're all excited about it. And we know that if we lose him, he's an integral part to that defense, to the defensive backs. Recruiting wise, he's starting to become a hell of a recruiter as well. So if I had to choose one, I'll choose DVD just to go kind of against the grain. I'm sure, a lot of people might say Steele or Gaddis or whatnot.
I would say Alex agrees with you, but I'm going to go with his number 2. I'm going to say Alex Mirabal.
That would have been my second choice, honestly.
Yeah, sure. That could be my Columbus bias coming through. Or honestly, for culture reasons, I think. That's his right-hand man, and that's the guy who will help install that, toughness in the trenches kind of culture that we've been missing since 05, 06, around there.
Right.
So I would say it's him. That's just me.
And I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he's attached to this guy, for life.
I agree. Unless because I heard rumors of him. Oh, he might take the head coaching job at FIU or something. Maybe Mirabal will be a head coach one day. Who knows? But we'll see. I'll be happy for him either way. That'll be cool to see.
Absolutely.
So that's the coach is obviously great news. Left and right there. So nothing really negative to talk about, thankfully. So I like to, just kind of put that aside for now. And next topic I wanted to cover, because spring is right around the corner, it's just a few weeks away. It's like March. Do you know when the day spring starts?
No, it's sometime in March. I know the spring, the spring
game.
Yeah, the spring game is what, April 16th, right?
April 16th or 18th, something like that. It's usually like a month. So
the 16th is a Saturday, so I'm going to say it's the 16th.
Okay, yeah, 16th. So yeah, that's right there, man. And I wanted to go over a few position battles and where you think, how you see some of those position battles playing out. Because the good thing is I went through it and I was like, man, the starters for most of this team, I think, are relatively set, at least for the first part of the season. You may see a change throughout the year, but your TVDs and your Zions and guys like that, on certain positions you're locked in there. But there's a few positions I wanted to go over with you. Let's start. I don't want to start with linebacker because that's the obvious one. Let's start with a different one. I wanted to start with the offensive line, because I think some of those jobs are kind of open, but I think the left side of the O-line, Zion and Rivers, maybe Clark, I think that's pretty much set, my opinion. How do you see offensive, right guard and right tackle playing out?
Right now, it's tough to say, right? Because, if you listen to what Mario has been talking about, they're still looking to get guys in the transfer portal, right? They still might get another piece, another offensive lineman, another guy that can kind of plug and play that they're still waiting for out there. So, I don't know. I don't even know. Jalen Rivers is coming off an injury, number one. So I think that he's still going to have to earn his spot as talented as we think he is. Ja'Kai Clark did a great job last year when he was plugged in finally. And then, Zion started to pick up and play a lot better also. So, yeah, could I see that side of the O-line set? Yes, to a certain degree, yes. But I still think it's a clean slate for a lot of these other guys, right? You've got a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. Well, at least we think we have a lot of talent. Guys like Isaiah Walker, if he can get it together, from a mental standpoint, I think that's a guy that can come in and contribute. I know Ryan Rodriguez is a center, but maybe he's the type of guy that can come in and play guard. I don't know. There's so many different things that can happen, and so many guys. It'd be hard to run through all of them. But even a guy like Cleveland Reed, DJ Scaife, maybe he's somehow Maribel revives his his playing career. So I mean, there's so many different guys, but I think we still need to look at the transfer portal because there could be a guy or two that they bring in there as well. So I still think that they're still going to battle it out until maybe a week before. Sangapulu. That's another guy that transfer who's a big dude, man, and he could play center, he could play guard. So yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to go through there.
Yeah, I would love to see him win that right guard job because I think the issue at centers hopefully is pretty much solved with Clark. But he may challenge Clark for playing time at center. You never know.
Yep.
So yeah, I would love to see that dude poke through and get some playing time. I'm going to make a prediction now. If John Campbell stays healthy, I think that right tackle job is his.
Yeah, that's another one. Yep.
I think that's his. That's just me. Alex Rivera bringing up Seymour. Anything? That's again, like you said, we have a lot of bodies right now. Maybe not a lot of proven talent, but a lot of bodies with potential. Yeah.
I know that's a kid that needed to develop a little bit. He's got the size. I just don't know, right? I just don't know, especially with this new coaching staff. Who knows what they're going to do? And I think they're going to be able to tell a lot. Look, they even mentioned that this fourth quarter program that they're doing right now is going to really separate some guys, I think, when it comes down to practice and depth chart and this, that, and the other. I don't think we'll see a lot of oars with Mario Cristobal. I think that I think that's just going to change. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think the oars is translation for I don't know who,
Exactly.
I don't know who to pick. The oars kind of started with the golden era, and that it brings back memories. Yeah. So that's offensive line. Let's go over to a fun one, running back. Obviously, Rooster had the best season last year, but that was a lot of that was because he was given the opportunity because Don Chaney got hurt, and certain guys weren't available. Now, assuming health, of course, Chaney's back. You got Thad Franklin's in better shape. You got Cody Brown going into his second year, getting a lot of valuable playing time. And then you bring in Henry Parrish Jr. and Trevante Citizen. I mean, we are now officially, I can say, we are stacked at running back. Do you see Rooster keeping his job? And two-part question. Do you see Rooster keeping that RB1 job? And who do you see like maybe getting paired off with him as like a thunder and lightning situation?
Well, I think there's a difference between who I want to see and who I think we will see. At the end of the day, I still think that Jalen Knighton did definitely enough and more to warrant, RB1 status. I think that we saw how tough he was, how he can carry a load. He can definitely carry the ball 20, 25 times. We saw that. Do we want him to do that every game? Probably not. The only thing that concerns me is the guy that I really want. I've always been a fan of Don Chaney. Okay. I love Don Chaney. I love his running style. The problem is he can't stay healthy, right? So he's been dinged up his 2 or 3 years that he's been here already. So I'm concerned with that. I'm concerned with his durability. If it wasn't for that, I think he'd be RB1. I just think he's that talented. There's been concerns with Thad Franklin, who I love as well as a runner, as far as his practicing, right? Like, he maybe hasn't been the best practicer or whatever you want to call it. So Cody Brown, of course, Cody Brown. For me, it's going to come down to if Chaney can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, then he's probably RB2. But listen, don't put it past a guy like Henry Parrish to challenge them both for that status. He did it, he did it, and he did it well at Ole Miss, okay? And he's not going to come down here to play second fiddle to any of those guys. He's the thing is that every single running back on this roster is a little bit different, right? They're Rooster is kind of like, he's a little slimmer, but he's really fast twitch guy. He's one cut and he's gone, right? He can make a guy miss. Chaney is, he can run in between the tackles, but he can also get outside. He's got a little bit of burst. Cody Brown is probably more of a little bit of a bruiser. So it's Thad Franklin. So I think that it's going to be exciting. This is a good problem to have, right? Is having this slate of
Mhm.
running backs that are all 4 and 5 star athletes, and 4 and 5 star running backs. I wouldn't put it past Henry Parrish to break that that RB2, maybe RB3, but I can see him up there. But I really want to see Knighton and Cheney. I think those two together will be pretty exciting.
Mhm. I think it's going to be mainly a two-headed monster with like a third guy sprinkled in
Right.
certain situations. For me, ideally, it's again assuming he stays healthy. It's Rooster, then Don, then Parrish sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Because Cheney has been an injury concern. I think we can officially say he is injury prone.
Yeah.
We have enough of a sample size now, so I think it's going to end up being Rooster, Cody, and then Henry Parrish Jr. I
Oh,
think those are the
you
three
like
main.
Cody, huh? You like Cody.
I like Cody. I do. I think the experience he got last year was valuable. But you know what? Thad Franklin looked so good in that Virginia Tech game. He was just running through dudes.
He's a gamer, man. That's the
Yeah.
thing. He's a gamer.
Yeah. So RB2 might be between Thad and Cody, honestly.
I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. I think that the problem is Cody Brown is not flashy, right? So people don't see him as a flat. They don't. Oh, he's not a flashy guy, but he does everything well, right? He does everything well. He has decent vision. He can, he's got a little bit of quickness. He's a hard hitter. He's a bruiser. So I'd be excited to see any of them. I mean, that's a good thing. We have so many guys that can, plug in and be RB1, RB2. But definitely, I think it's Knighton RB1 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go over to the next one. Let's switch to defense now. Cornerback. Good thing is, one side of the ball, you got Tyreek Stevenson. I think that's pretty much set it and forget it. You got one side taken care of. The other side is the one it seems like for the last, man, how many years now? Like that second corner, for whatever reason, back when Corn Elder was here, it was always who's the other guy next to him. It seems to be a recurring problem. It's one of those few positions we have not recruited well over the past decade. That's starting to change now. But we don't have, kind of like O-line, we have a lot of bodies, a lot of talent, not a lot of experience. Who do you see poking their head through, and maybe do you see someone like really emerging in the spring and saying, okay, that CB2 spot is mine, or is it going to be pretty much a battle until the season starts?
This is a tough one for me, man, because if you look at that whole group, it really is. It's Tyreek and then just a whole bunch of people grouped together, right? And we've kind of tested out DJ Ivy into Corey Couch and Marcus Clark and Isaiah Dunson and all these guys. Al Blades was hurt last year, so he really didn't get a chance. So and a lot of people think that maybe Al Blades might be better off playing at a nickel, the nickel or the striker / safety. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with Al Blades. I think he's talented, so I still think that he has a role on this team. I'm just not sure where. I don't know if the other cornerback is going to be that spot. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say I think one of these young cats. I think Jaden Davis or Kamari Rogers come in and they say, well, if none of you guys are going to take this position and lock it down, this cornerback number 2, then listen, it's there. And those guys are talented. Jaden Davis is already. I think he's already. As far as size wise. I think he's already there. I think he's ready to go. So, and he's kind of the under the radar guy that not a lot of people, knew about, right? So when he committed a three-star cornerback, nobody knew too much about him. And then again, these guys are mentioning, some of the guys are mentioning on the chat as well. You can still see another guy come out of the chat, listen to me, the transfer portal as well and be a guy there also. So I think there's still going to be a lot of movement. I'd love to see DJ Ivy put it all together because he's so gifted physically, right? He's a big body. He's a big, lanky guy. He's got some speed to him. But, his hips, his twitch, and the way that he covers is probably, obviously, it's going to be the biggest issue. Can he put it all together? Then you've got another big corner on that side that can cover anybody, right? So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But if I had to put my hat on it, if I had to kind of gun to my head, I'd say maybe a guy like Jaden Davis.
Okay. Yeah, Jay. I see a young guy emerging as well. Maybe not as early as spring, but maybe sometime in the season. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to end up being by committee.
Yeah,
First
it's
few
gonna be a carousel for sure. Yeah, I think
It's
so.
going to be a carousel. I really would love to see Corey Couch bounce back and get back to his 2020 form because last year he really, I mean,
Struggled.
I saw the numbers, like the coverage, like those advanced metrics on that they do on corners. Yeah, it really dropped, which is a shame because I think he's very talented. But I see, yeah, either Jaden Davis or Chris Graves. I could see emerging because they have that size already.
Yep.
I would love to see Kamari Rogers because I think he's the most talented of the group as a cover corner, but that 160 whatever pound frame concerns me.
Right.
So, and weight fluctuates. Who knows what he's actually weighing right now? But it's probably in that neighborhood. He's probably not going to play much this year, which sucks. But if he can develop, maybe 2023, he'll be that dude.
Well, he might be CB1, right? Because then we're still gonna because Stevenson is gone after this year. So yeah, you meant Graves is another one. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't say his name, but yeah,
And we're
definitely.
getting a guy by the, well, I'm not saying we're getting, but there's a guy by the name of Cormani McLean that's out there.
Well, that guy's plug and play.
He's
If
an
that guy
absolute
comes to
stud.
Miami, yeah, he's
You remember Patrick Peterson when he got to LSU?
yeah, that's him.
He's that.
He's Derek Stingley, right? Like he's been compared to him a lot, right? So yeah, that's who he is, 100%.
Absolutely. All right, so that's corner. You know what? Let's do linebacker now. So
Do we have to?
I'm kind of excited about linebacker because I'm a huge Chase Smith fan and I think he's going to dominate at the weak side position. I'm going to flip around. I'm going to go first with my prediction. I think, including the strikers.
Okay.
I think weak side. I think Chase Smith he steps on the field early in the spring. He's like, this job is mine. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever you say. I think he's that dude. The weak side is his. I don't think they keep him at striker. I think he's a linebacker. In the middle, I think it remains Corey Flagg for now because of his experience. I think he'll be in better shape. But I think no longer will you have, those games where the talented freshman gets like 2 snaps in a game. You will see a lot of Wesley the Saint in those first couple of games at Hard Rock. So I think that's the situation at middle linebacker. And then at striker, that's the one I have trouble with because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is Keon, well, maybe they probably haven't said it yet. Keontre I see moving back to striker in this defense.
Yeah, they haven't said it yet. Yeah.
They haven't really said
is he even going to have a striker? Because Kevin Steele said that they are going to be a 4-3 defense. And then multiple based off of who they're playing. So that's going to be interesting to see if the striker position is even going to come back.
That's true. I mean, I think it's going to be sprinkled in. I think they'll use it in some packages depending who we play. But you could, I say striker, but striker, strong side, you can use that interchangeably in this defense. Right. I think they're gonna want size at that position, but for now, Gilbert and Keontre are your most reliable tacklers, I think, available to play that position. So I think it's pretty much going to be split between those two on the strong side. That's my thoughts, at least on the starting lineup at linebacker. What are you thinking?
Well, I have an affinity towards a few guys. I mean, listen, it could be completely different. However, like for me, yeah, I'm with you 100% on Chase Smith. But I'm going to kind of turn it around. I'm going to twist it around a little bit and change it up. All right, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I think that Chase Smith ends up being our middle linebacker.
I'd be okay with that.
He's got the size again. I mean, by the way, and you and me were both at the same. We were at the same event.
Function, yes.
Yeah, he's all of 6'3", 6'4".
He's 6'4" for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looks slim, but he's jacked up. He's probably in the 220 to 230 range already. Give me that all day as a middle linebacker, especially nowadays the way that linebackers are built. Give me him at the middle. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then I'm gonna throw in. I still think that If Keontra stays at linebacker, he's going to start at linebacker. Let's put it that way. If there's no striker, I can see him still playing, weak side or even strong, one of those sides. Okay, one of the outside linebacker positions, in a traditional 4-3, right? Without a striker, let's just say a traditional 4-3. I can see him still playing linebacker. Okay, and then I think that eventually, I think they're going to see so much talent in a guy like James Williams, and they're going to bring him down to linebacker. He's going to play one of the other outside linebacker positions. I personally, and I know a lot of people don't think that he's going to play safety much longer. He's athletic enough, sure, but man, when you got guys like Avonte Williams and Cam Kitchens back there, and now you bring in a guy like Markeith Williams, and Brian Balaam gets healthy again, that's a hell of a safety, and still more, right? And more. So I think I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to say James Williams, Chase Smith in the middle, and Keontre on the outside with a shot, because I said I have an affinity for certain guys. I love Deshaun Troutman. I think he's a human missile. Okay, so, I think he's the kind of guy, he's kind of like my dark horse to get in that lineup.
I love Troutman as well. Another guy with some decent size. Yep. He must be like around 6'2", and I think he told us on Flo's show he's right around like 200.
Yeah, 200, 205, something like that. Right?
Yeah, he likes to be lighter and quicker. So he's a guy you'll see in certain packages for sure, I think.
I have to say something different. I didn't want to say the same thing. I like Flag. I think Flag will actually do well in Kevin Steele's defense. I just don't know. He might start off, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be those guys.
Yeah, that's another dude. I keep forgetting about him.
Yeah.
I think pass rushing situations, you'll see a lot of him.
Tyreek Austin Cave is another kid that, probably didn't get enough credit for playing really well when he did. So, yeah.
See,
there's talent there. Sam Brooks is still on this roster.
There is talent at that position. It's just wrong scheme. They weren't using guys right. They weren't using certain guys enough. I think Chase Smith played like 7 snaps against FSU and had like 5 tackles.
Yeah, that was a crime. I can't believe that.
Like every play he was in, he made a play. It was crazy. But yeah. And anyway, last thing, James Williams. I'm with you. I would love to see him drop down. He's so athletic and he can play very good safety, but he's so big. He's 6'5", going on 6'6". Like eventually, in that weight room, naturally he's going to get bigger. They're going to convince him to get down to linebackers. Like, dude, you're gonna make more money at this position.
Yeah, 100%. He could be an All-American at linebacker.
100%. 100%. So yeah, that's the linebackers. See, more excitement there than you thought. Okay, so we did corner, linebacker, running back, coverage strike. Okay, defensive end. Let's D-line in general. The one position I know locked in, no matter what, our starter at D tackle 1 is Leonard Taylor. He's an every down guy. Who do you see playing next to Leonard Taylor?
Yeah, that's the first guy I immediately go to is Jared Harrison Hunt. I think it's the first guy I think about playing alongside him. I don't know if their skill set matches up when they play together, on the field at the same time, but I think that he's talented enough to be that guy next to him. You can see packages where you're going to see guys like Alan Hay. I think Alan Hay is going to be a kid that's going to come in and be productive. I don't know how great he's going to be, right off the bat, because he still has some developing to do. But again, with the type of coaching staff that we have now, I could definitely see a guy like, maybe Alan Hay, Jordan Miller and John Ford are gone. It's going to be tough. I can also see maybe a kid like the transfer from USC, Liechtenstein, come in and get some play inside as well. I know that they wanted to move. Which one was it? Was it Elijah Roberts or who was one of the other cats that they wanted to move inside as well? That he played outside. Was it? It might have been Roberts. I don't remember now.
I think Roberts was the opposite. They wanted to move him out.
He's big though. He's 6'4", 270.
Yeah, he's one of the reasons that, and here's why D-line is an interesting argument, because I think we're going to run some 3-4.
Right.
Liechtenstein is that 6'6", 270 type of guy. Elijah Roberts, 6'5", 270. Shamar, 6'5", 270. I know we didn't get him, but we were going hard after him.
Right.
That's the kind of like that, like that JJ Watt body type that is athletic, but can, is kind of a hybrid D tackle D end.
Right.
So,
I mean, maybe look, I know that Nez Cooper committed, and some say he might play offensive line, but I mean, he's 6'6", 350 pounds or 340 pounds, and he wants to play defense also, from what I hear, right? So maybe a guy like that, although he's young, he's a freshman. We totally forgot about Moultrie. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a guy that's gonna. I think they're gonna rotate. Right, I think they're going to rotate that specific position. I think Leonard Taylor is going to be the focal point of the defensive tackle position. But you're going to get guys like Harrison Hunt, Moultrie, Alan Hay. You're going to get those guys rotating. Maybe one kind of solidifies his spot there. But at the beginning, I'm going to go Harrison Hunt as the guy starting next to Leonard Taylor.
Yeah, but I agree. I think Leonard Taylor is like the one fixed guy, and you're going to see a lot of rotation. Now the edge, the end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it in this defense, the edge rusher. We're not super deep there. Well, deep in talent, but not deep in experience.
Right.
You got Chance and Jafari, who they were decent last year. They made plays at times. That one play that Jafari made on the pick six and against UNC was great. He flashes that kind of talent.
Right.
But I don't think Alex asking right there. Does he play up to the hype? I've been hyping him up the last 2 years. So I hope he emerges and just locks down one of those sides. But I see Nigel Lee Kelly and Cyrus Moss both playing a lot in this defense. I don't know about you, but I see that happening. Maybe not starting, but pretty much splitting 50-50 with Jafari and Chance and maybe Elijah. I think it's going to be like that 5-man rotation on the edge.
You got Jabari Ishmael there too.
Jabari, yeah.
I think he's still maybe a year away from getting significant playing time.
Yeah.
You could even throw in, a guy that's kind of a hybrid, edge rusher / linebacker guy, Thomas Davis, who was hurt last year and redshirted. That's another kid that can come in certain packages and rush, right? So, but if we're talking about maybe like your everyday starting end, yeah, I'm going to go Chance Williams on one side. And I really think Nigel Leak somehow, some way, he's the other. He's so talented when it comes to rushing the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's about 240 pounds now. Put him in this program. He may gain another 10, 15 pounds. So why not 6'4", 6'5", 255 as an end? Yeah, I think maybe he splits time with Jafari at the beginning and with Roberts at the beginning and even Chance. But I think that he comes out and he kind of shows you, that kind of freshman All-American type of play. So I love Kelly. I think he's going to be a superstar.
Agreed. If there's a guy that can grab that one of those DN jobs, even as a true freshman, we could very well see Nigel Lee Kelly. It reminds me of in 2016 when Joe Jackson, like 5-6 games into the season, was like, this job is mine. And in half a season, racked up double-digit sacks.
Yep.
I could see Nigel Lee Kelly, but he's an even more athletic version of Joe Jackson, I think.
And, it's not to take away anything from Cyrus Moss,
mm-hmm.
but I still think he's got some growing to do, right? He's kind of thin, right?
He's on the thinner side, yeah.
215, right? 215, 220s, but he's big. He's got the frame to fill in, to gain another 30, 40 pounds. So, yeah, he could be lethal, but I just don't see him playing right off the bat just yet.
Not unless they use him at outside linebacker, that kind of edge rusher a little bit, because
yeah,
he's on the lighter side. Because you got to remember, for the people saying, "Oh, he's only 215," he was a safety like a year ago.
That's crazy.
Converted safety.
Kind of reminds me of like Greg Rousseau, a little bit like Greg Rousseau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has that kind of. He's 6'6". He's got legit, like he's got that kind of frame to fill out. So. He'll play. He's too talented not to play this year at spots, but give him a year. He could be a star. Man, him and Nigel League on the edges in 2023
Whew,
as sophomores, just stupid.
it's dangerous.
Yeah, and LT in the middle. Let's see. I could see Moss and Isaiah Simmons type role linebacker. Yep. So, all right, D end. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everybody. I guess one position we didn't cover that I guess we could cover this one because there's a little bit of competition there. Because I don't know who's going to emerge as the number one receiver on this team, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because I think we have a lot of talent at receiver. But if you could pick a guy that's going to emerge as like this is his breakout year, you have to pick one. Who would you think at receiver?
Jacoby George.
That's mine.
I love Jacoby George, and I think Keyshawn is great. I love Restrepo inside. Brashard Smith is electric. Romello, I mean, it's hard, to take away from Romello as well, how talented he is as well. But I just love everything that Jacoby George does. His route running, his hands, separation, and just the way he plays. I love Jacoby George. For me, it's George all the way.
For me, it's George as well. A lot of people are saying Mello. Could be Mello as well. And I think what we saw in those last couple of games, especially, again, the Vatech game, Jacoby George, and I think in the Duke game as well, Jacoby George really showed his multifaceted game, his return game, his hands. He has very confident hands. And the word that comes to mind with him is he's very smooth. There's no wasted motion.
Right.
Reminds me a little bit of Amon Richards. Just very smooth. Not easy to bring down. Great hands. Comes in and out of routes like butter. And I see him breaking out this year as well. And I see Keyshawn and X and those guys all having decent years because you got arguably the best quarterback in the country throwing to them.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't think you can take away from the fact that everybody's going to get a fair shot. Even guys like Daz Worsham and Michael Redding, they're going to get a fair shot, right? I think that right now it's a clean slate for everybody. You know what I'm interested to see what they do with Brashard Smith this year, because there was a guy that Josh Gaddis had in Michigan that reminds me a lot of Brashard Smith's type of playing, his playing style, and it was Donovan Edwards, right? He was a freshman, and he was really, really good. But they used him a lot on those jet sweeps, on those end arounds, on the as a slot guy. He would move him into the backfield. He'd throw the ball, to him on these little wheel routes. I mean, he did a little bit of everything. That's the kind of guy that I think Brashard Smith is going to be. So, but. I mean, if you're talking about wide receiver one, for me, it's Jacoby George. Oh, that guy.
I would agree with you. That's the guy I got the best feeling about. And again, I see Keyshawn having a good year. Mello, I see him emerging because
Frankie Latson was a 5-star wide receiver. We haven't even mentioned him. But he's had his issues at Clemson. But he could be the next, Rambo, for God's sakes. Who knows?
You never know.
Never know.
You never know, man. But we'll see. It'll be fun to see. And we'll end on two more questions, and then we'll wrap up. But speaking of Tyler Van Dyke, how early do you think the Heisman smoke starts for him?
I think they're going to downplay it a little bit, man. I mean, some guys are talking about it now, but some people are, proceeding with caution because we saw what happened last year with a really talented quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, who had all the hype right after he, played well against Notre Dame and, had some decent games, and then kind of came out and laid an egg, really. Most of the season, he didn't play particularly well. He kind of picked it up towards the end of the year. But, same thing with a guy like Spencer Rattler, those kind of guys, right? So a lot of people, I think, are kind of holding off to wait and see but I mean, his name's out there. His name's, he's being talked about. He's not a surprise anymore to anybody. So he's going to have to adjust because the defenses will adjust to him. Right. So we're going to have to wait and see how he does when it comes to that. I think he's going to be able to. I think he's that talented to come out and continue to dominate. And I think that, Gaddis and the rest of that staff is going to put him in the right position to be successful either way. So I think the hype train is going to be the Heisman hype train is going to be there early. If he comes out and he throws, I don't care if it's Bethune-Cookman, Missouri, Southwest Missouri, whoever it is that they're playing, or Texas A&M. If he comes out and he throws 5 touchdown passes like game 1 and game 2, like, I mean, there's just no doubt about that. He's going to have to be spoken about right off the bat. But I think people are going to kind of proceed with caution a little bit the first couple of games and see what he does against Texas A&M. I think that's going to be the barometer for him.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made about like Spencer Rattler and guys like that. Because Uagalili kind of just showed it in a couple games. Spencer Rattler was special for an entire season until I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that's a good point, because I was just thinking back to, it was 2015 or 2016 when Mark Richt first got here, all the Heisman hype that Brad Kaya was getting. So I'm like, man, if he gets that hype, look at the numbers that Tyler Van Dyke put up in like 2/3 of the season. It was just stupid, ridiculous numbers, like record setting. So but you're right. I think they're going to try to downplay it, but if they look up and see halfway through the season, he's just picked up right where he left off, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You have no other choice. Let's see. Last question, and then we'll end on this. This has been an argument amongst Canes fans, I think, for a while now, because the Hall of Fame, that's coming up again. Devin Hester. Is Devin Hester a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
I agree.
I didn't even hesitate.
State your case, sir. Because not everyone agrees, because a kick returner is not a huge part of the game.
He even said it himself the other day. He had 2 or 3 years, maybe 3, right? 2, but maybe 3 years where they actually kicked the ball to him, right? Mm-hmm. And when he did, he scored 20 touchdowns off of returns. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody's been ever close to even that. Don't give me Dante Hall. Don't give me anybody else. I mean, he's electric. He was feared by every single team. They never kicked the ball to him. They never punted the ball to him. Okay. And honestly speaking, he didn't do bad. I mean, he didn't do bad as a receiver. He caught a couple touchdown passes. He did all right as a receiver. But, as a returner, there's been nobody has ever feared anybody more than Devin Hester has been feared in the NFL when it comes to returning the football. And if you can put in guys like Shane Leckler, whoever it was that was a punter that got into the Hall of Fame for what he did and how he switched field positions for his team, and he did it for like 20 years. I get that, but the fact that he was able to do what he did for those 2 or 3 years and dominate the way he did at his position, which to me that's the measuring point, right? Like, are you the most dominant person ever at your position? And the answer is yes. And it's a position. I don't care how, people are trying to go away with the return game, and, returners nowadays aren't as, as respected or even, as important as it was 5-10 years ago. So yeah, it was a position. It's a position in the league. He was a special teams kick returner, punt returner. He was a specialist. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, he was the best to ever do it, so he deserves to be in there.
Agreed. And I think Gary said something that I agree with. If you're the best ever at your job, just like Shane Leckler, if you're the best ever to do it at your job, hands down, you should be in it. You should be in the Hall of Fame. And number 2, he was so feared that, like you said, they kicked the ball to him for 2 years maybe. And then I think in his 3rd year is when it stopped, because he set a record his rookie year and then he broke his own record. Like, just screwed around and scored 7 touchdowns in a season on special teams. And how many of those touchdowns in the NFL, like, you score in special teams in the NFL, that's like a back-breaking touchdown. Usually ices a game, or, it affects things. So yeah, I think 100% he's a Hall of Famer. And you know what you were talking, who else I thought of, like, as far as feared guys? You remember Nnamdi Asomugha, right?
Mm-hmm.
The corner. He played most of his career with the Raiders.
Yep.
Never had impressive stats because they would go game after game completely avoiding him. Just, they would not throw the ball his way. He was that feared. And for that reason, he should be a Hall of Famer, and Devin Hester should be a Hall of Famer. So
yeah, I mean, completely agree. 100%.
So yeah.
And the other 2 guys should be in there too, Reggie Wayne and Andre Johnson, but that's topic for another day, I guess.
Well, I mean, anyone who argues against those two, it's like, dude, have you watched football before?
Yeah.
You know, it's the egg-shaped ball, right? Not the round one.
Have you seen who threw the ball to Andre Johnson? I mean, yeah.
He made that dude a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, just absurd. Anyway, so that by the way, he's the Spicy Nugs guy, right?
Yes, he is.
All right, shout out to Gary.
Listen, Gary. If Chick-fil-A comes out with spicy nuggets, we're gonna have you on the phone on the show, and you're gonna eat them on the show. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do something really sick and twisted there, and make you eat chicken nuggets on the show. Unbelievable.
Gonna do some like Fear Factor style thing.
Yeah. Eat in the dark.
Yeah. All right, man. So I think that we'll pretty much wrap it up there. 158 on the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button on your way out. And after you log off here, check out Sixth Ring Cane Show. Check out, I believe, Rasta and David Franklin have their show tonight. Sebastian Lane, they usually have it Thursday nights at 9:30. I think this week is no different. So go check them out. And Jazz, thank you for coming on tonight, bro, and doing this doubleheader with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. As always, guys, throw up that U. It's all about the U, baby. Go Canes.